And we are live. But I
Hello.
show one person. Hi, Jessica. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. Oh, thank you. So let me get out of here. Let me open up because there is a lag if you're watching it through StreamYard.
Yeah, I see it's just coming on now. Hi, Jason. I'm so excited you're here.
Let me pull it up really quick. So bear with me, guys. All right, here we go. Let me pull.
Hi, Maria.
Hi, Jason and Maria. How are you guys today? I show 6 people in here now. Oh, there we go. Hi, Laura. Hi, Jen. All right.
Oh, I'm so excited people showed up. It's already off to a good start. Okay.
You're funny. We are here with Amy of Strength Reverse. Thank you, Amy, for joining us.
Thanks for inviting me.
My pleasure. Hi, Thais. Am I missing anybody? I don't think so. All right. So we're just going to go ahead and get started. So,
okay.
Why Strength Reversed?
Well, I've had a connection to the Strength card for a really long time. And what the Strength card means to me is strength from within. And it means letting go and trusting the universe, which I have a really hard time with. And I feel like that is one of my life lessons that I'm probably going to be working with my entire life. When the strength card comes up reversed, for me, it's a magnifier. So it's even more of a need for that, for letting go and trusting and seeing the world as a safe place that is going to support me. And so that's just I guess it's my life card, I think. So I named my channel that because I really wanted to remind myself of that lesson, that the world is a safe place spiritually and physically, and that the universe has my back, which I sometimes question. So that's why Strength Reversed. I know a lot of people see Strength Reversed as something a little bit more negative or difficult, but I've never seen that card that way. So
I love that. Yeah, I mean, it's just like awareness, right? Just awareness.
And I've also had, I guess one of my other lessons is really loving myself in spite of things that I see as shortcomings or failures or weak areas, and not being so hard on myself. And I see the Strength Reversed as that too, kind of a reminder. So tarot has been a really huge part in me dealing with issues like that, and really looking inside and trying to heal things that are, shadow stuff. And so that's just a big part of my tarot journey.
That's wonderful. Hi, Cindy. Hi, Sonia.
Hi.
So how would you label your spiritual path if you had to label it? Because not everyone likes to label it, which, but if you had to.
Well, I would say 0% religion and 100% spirit. So I was raised Catholic and had did a stint in Catholic school and the whole 9 yards. And I just always thought, this is kind of BS. Like, for me, there were just certain things like people could not explain to me when I had questions. It's just the way it is. And when I was probably through 3rd grade, my family was not religious at all. Now, they, maybe I said prayers at night, or read Bible stories or something. But my mom sent me to Sunday school just because I asked to go because my friend went. But that was it. My parents didn't go to church. My mom was raised very Catholic. My dad's family was Catholic, but they just kind of, I don't think they were as religious. They just maybe went at Christmas time or something. But when I was in 3rd grade, we moved and I ended up going to a Catholic school. And so my parents got more into, they kind of got back into going to mass and into the church. And so we had to go to mass, it seemed constantly at school. So every first Friday of the month we went. Random Tuesdays, I wasn't sure why we were going. Every holy day of obligation, we'd go to mass. And then my parents started wanting to go to mass on Sunday, and I was like, I just went like 20 times. Why do I have to go again? And I never really felt like going to mass connected me with spirit at all. I just felt relieved when it was over because it was kind of boring. I joined the choir at school just to have something to do when we went to mass all the time. And so I thought, why do we have to go? We never went before. Why are we bad people now because we're not going to mass? And I had to make up sins at confession. So I would have this running list of sins that I felt were bad enough to be believable, but not so bad that my mom would find out and I'd get in real trouble. So I remember going to confession one day and kind of being able to see through the screen. And the priest was like thumbing through a book or something as I'm talking. And I was so offended. I'm like, I went through a lot of trouble to make up these good sins for you. And shouldn't you take this seriously? So I ended up not getting confirmed, much to the disappointment of my mom. But it just never clicked with me. And I when I was in college, I tried to be Wiccan because that did speak to me a lot. And so I read a lot about paganism, a lot about witchcraft, but in the end, it just seemed like more rules that it was too structured or something. And so I just right now focus on my connection with, you know, spirit or God, and I take little bits from everything that feels right, and that's my path. I don't call it anything. It just is.
Yeah.
So that's my long, convoluted, you know, experience with being a Catholic schoolgirl and things like that.
And the choir too.
What?
I said, and a choir girl too.
And a choir girl, yes.
Hi,
now,
Marion.
I love the pomp and circumstance of the chapel and lighting a candle and stained glass. And, you know, there is some semblance of, you know, Mary and the feminine in the Catholic Church. But the actual going to church part really never, it didn't spark anything in me. So it didn't feel like I was connecting with God in any way when I went. So I do my own thing, and I get a lot more out of it, I think. And you know, sometimes I envy people who have a church and they have this community, you know, and support system through their church. And I think that's really cool. But yeah.
Do you think you just don't like being told what to do?
Wonderful. But if not, find something that works for you.
Do you think you just don't like being told what to do?
Yeah.
Me
Part
too.
of it. Part of it. And I want all my questions answered. And so part of it is I'm just kind of stubborn and defiant. But
yeah.
Yeah.
Skinny toe, long-haired skinny toe. Laura did say, LOL, I had no shortage of non-made up sins. Still made a few things up for confession as a kid.
Yeah, it was stuff that like, oh, I said a bad word, or, I lied to my parents. The ironic part was that I was lying to the priest when I said this, but I felt somehow it would be worse if my mom thought I lied to, I don't know. I thought,
Yeah, I mean, I can get that. It's almost like they think that you're lying if you don't make up something, like you're
right.
just like a perfect child, right? Then I know she's up to something.
Well, I had this thought in my head, like, I'm 10. What could I have possibly done,
Yeah.
But yeah, so if I say, oh, I didn't sin, does anyone say that? I don't think so. You got to say something.
Yeah. I don't know. I never grew up in Catholicism, and I am grateful for that, to be honest with you. Because I can't imagine. I do like the traditions of certain things.
Yeah.
But somebody like always saying, okay, what did you do? Blah, 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 blah. Nah.
Yeah, my son is really interested in religion, and I have not tried to dissuade him. We still do Christmas, and we put the baby Jesus in the manger because my grandmother made a manger scene. She did ceramics a lot. So we have this manger with the wise men and whatnot. And baby Jesus lives under the cow. And then on Christmas morning, my son puts baby Jesus in the manger. So I still, keep a lot of traditions, but I guess going to church every week isn't one of them.
Yeah. I keep looking over here because I think my animals are about to have a showdown over here. I'm hoping not.
Well, that'll make for good YouTube.
Yeah. Oh. So, well, I was just going to ask if you were raised in the bath, but we've already kind of established that you were not.
I was not, no. I kind of made my own path, but
yeah. Do you feel supported by your family spiritually on your choices?
I do. Even though we don't have a lot of the same, I wouldn't say beliefs, because when it comes down to it, we all share this core belief that you try to be a good person and you try to, my mom watches, she's probably watching right now. Hi, Mom. And they're supportive. So I never felt like they were going to be mad at me. I mean, I know my mom at least my dad didn't really care, but my mom was disappointed when I didn't want to pursue Catholicism, but they're not, they're totally supportive of what I do. And I gave my mom
you're a different person. You're still the same person that you've always been.
Yeah, and they know how I am. They know I'm, defiant. I don't like to be told what to do.
Even by yourself, right?
Yeah, right. Gotta do it my way.
Exactly.
But my mom laughs because now I'm getting payback, because my son he's a Taurus. So he's like 10 times more stubborn than anyone you've ever met. And my mom, laughs a lot at that. So
karma, right? Yeah, that's funny. So Marion says, I live a couple of streets away from a Catholic church, and when it opened up after lockdown, there was a line halfway down the street for confession. How many people did stuff during?
God is gonna, what happens during lockdown, that's an exception, right?
Yeah, that's funny. Do you feel a stronger connection with a certain element?
Probably water. I need a water fix. I'm going to the beach tomorrow for a few days, so I'm excited about that. I love the ocean. I'm a water sign, so I do definitely have a connection with water.
Wonderful. Do you have a favorite season of the year?
Hands down is fall. I just love, where I live, it's pretty much hot all the time, but there is that week where it's crisp and the leaves are changing and it's just this refreshing feeling. It's starting to get a little cool outside. You can, you know, get cozy in a sweater and drink some hot chocolate, and there's Halloween and all sorts of fun stuff happens. So I love the fall.
So
love it.
Bosadie says both of her children are Taurus, and she had to laugh at that. And Laura says, LOL, my moon's Taurus, stubborn, emotional core, I suppose.
Well, my son is, his sun sign is Taurus, but his ascendant is also Taurus.
Oh.
So he's pretty, he's funny. He's a curmudgeon, and he does things in his own time. He was born, he was 2 weeks overdue. Okay. He has waited until the last possible moment to hit every milestone, I think, just because it drives me nuts with worry. So he does things when he gets ready to do them and no sooner. So maybe he gets that from me. Some people say that, but I don't think so. I think it's just his Taurus.
Right. So this is a silly question, but do you use divination? And if so, what types do you use?
I do, and probably 99% is tarot. So I started with my Robin Wood deck. I don't even know what year it was, 90 something. And this is still my absolute hands down favorite deck. And once in a great while, I'll use a pendulum, but it's mostly just tarot.
All right. Wonderful. So what is your sun sign then?
Scorpio.
Scorpio. Okay. All right. Do you by any chance know what your rising and your moon is?
I think my rising is Aries, and I figured out my moon, and I don't know it offhand. A while ago, I figured that out, and I'm not sure what it is offhand.
Okay. So do you know what your tarot birth cards are?
Yes. My birth card is the Lovers.
Oh.
And I love the it's funny because the devil has been popping up for me constantly. But I like especially in the Rider-Waite cards, the connection between the Lovers card and the Devil card, kind of like the shadow side of that. But yeah, I can definitely see a pattern in my life of dealing with balance and kind of balancing masculine and feminine, and I can easily kind of get out of whack one way or the other. And so, yeah.
So Courtney says, yay, Scorpio. What?
Do you need the band? Because Taylor and I were going to go out to get food, Mama. Can I take it?
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Maria, Scorpio and Aries. I always resent when I'm not the center of attention, but then when I am, I'm horrified. So there's always this like push-pull where I want to make a spectacle of myself, but then I'm very much like being behind the scenes. So there's always that conflict, I guess.
Gotcha. Laura says she's the Lovers too.
So what is my life path number then, Rachele?
6.
6. So that would be, it would correspond to that card?
With Lovers. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you know anything about that? Would you like me to pull that out?
Yeah.
All right. Let me find it really quick for you. I need to just have these ready. All right. Let's see. All right.
Sonia, I don't know what I am either. I really want to get my astrology chart done and find out once and for all.
For what?
Just to, she said, I don't know what I am either. I wish I understood this stuff, she said.
Oh. It is so interesting. I mean, I am trying to learn about astrology. It is so in detailed.
Mhm.
There's so much in there. And then, I just did a review on the joys of no, shedding light on Joy Tisha, something like that. And that's from Julianne Victoria, her book on
Yeah.
Vedic astrology. So fascinating.
Yeah.
And it's different than Western astrology. And that's not the only zodiac. So it's like the difference between Tarot de Marseille and Thoth and, Rider-Waite-Smith. They're just different systems.
I started reading, I got this book because I saw some reviews on people's channel, the Thoth Tarot.
Yeah.
And as I'm reading it, I'm thinking I'm going to have to really read up on astrology if I'm going to get into Thoth. So,
Yes.
so that's next on my list.
I am a little over halfway done on that book. I read like 5 books at a time.
Yeah, I do too. I read a
You're
few
like, what?
chapters and then I find another book and
Yeah.
kind of cycle through.
So, number 6. Oh, I'm like missing a part of it. Bear with me, guys. There's too many papers here. Okay, I think I got it.
Oh, happy birthday, B and Sonia.
Happy birthday, guys. So the energy that the number 6 possesses happens to be the most harmonious energetic frequency of all the cardinal numbers, or single digit numbers 1 through 9. The vibration of the number 6 is one of the more feminine, biased natures. That is an intermix of traits that are of opposite polarity. For example, the number 6 holds an energy of both idealism with stability. So you're talking about that balance and that struggle that you do. That's probably very common for 6s. These mental and physical elements combined end up being the perfect recipe for a peaceful and harmonious existential energy. Number 6 is the most nurturing of the single digit numbers. It emanates unconditional love, compassion, and an instinct of protection and caretaking. Think of the most maternal or motherly energy you have ever experienced. That is the energy of the number 6 to the core.
Huh.
Now add in a very grounded common sense that also contains such supreme wisdom, one that can not only solve problems logically, but also do so in a very fair way.
Well, I'll take supreme.
Nice. There's more. I highly suggest just researching it. My life path is 6. What does that mean? Yada, yada, yada. It's fascinating. All right. So, well, that was the next question, was your life path. So we know what that is now. We keep on going like one step ahead.
Summer.
Let's see here. So, yeah, do you know what your significator card is then in the tarot?
No, I did my court card hashtag quite a while ago, and I chose the King of Swords for myself because I feel like I'm very direct, and I'm just blunt. Sometimes I have to really temper that, but I feel like that I picked the king instead of the queen because the king to me is outwardly focused, and that's how I feel like my exterior is that I come off as more serious or even kind of cranky, or I have high expectations of people and of myself, and I sometimes don't tolerate weakness well in myself also. But the queen, I think, is more inwardly focused, whereas that I feel like is just my exterior, and inside I'm very emotional and very mushy and very worrisome. So
So you
there's
think the king is more what people would perceive you as, and the queen is more what you would perceive yourself as?
right. Well,
Okay.
that's why I chose the king, because I feel like that is more of an outward energy. So
Mhm.
how I deal with people tends to be more matter of fact, straightforward, and clear boundaries. Whereas inside, I'm much more sensitive, much less sure of myself.
Mhm. I have
It's
mad
that
respect for that.
conflict.
Seriously. And you know where you stand with somebody because they are forthcoming. I
Yeah,
have way more respect for that because
sometimes I'm a little too forthcoming. So I try to think before I speak. It doesn't always work out that way, but
I hear you. Yeah, I have that itis also, open mouth, insert foot.
right. And
Yeah,
then afterward, I think, oh, I should have maybe said it like that, or just kept my mouth shut. So,
right.
yeah.
That's hard for me. I'm learning. Right. Let's see. So, do you have a current favorite deck that you're working with, or just your favorite deck?
Yeah,
Or
well,
two
my
or
favorite
three?
deck of all time is Robin Wood and always will be. It's my first love. But right now, I am working a lot with the Light Seers, which Jason from Readings with Jason sent to me as a surprise gift. And it's not, I don't accumulate tons of decks. So it's not a deck that I would have picked for myself, not because I didn't like it, just because it wasn't on. I have a very short list of decks, and I tend to mull them over for quite a while. So it wasn't on my list, but I absolutely love it. It just completely speaks to me. I love the bright colors. I love more just bright and vibrant decks. And the images, I think um, they help me understand the card, but in a way, I have the Robin Wood is that deck where when I think of a card, I think of the card in the Robin Wood, just because that's my gold standard. And
Right.
so it's helped me understand the cards in a different way, like a different flavor of that card, because the images are so different, but they do really evoke the meaning of the card for me. So I'm just loving this deck. I love it. So that's one of my favorites right now. And I just got the Titanic Tarot. I did a walkthrough of that. And so I'm still learning this one. Now, this is a very watery deck, so I do like it, but I'm taking it to the beach with me tomorrow. So I think that's a good place to do a first reading with the Titanic Tarot.
I'm gonna have to watch it. I didn't see your walkthrough of that. That sounds interesting.
It's a very interesting deck because some of the cards have real people in the deck, and so it was interesting to read about why those people were chosen for that particular card. And also the pip cards, if you put them together, they make a big picture. So that was really interesting too. I didn't realize that when I ordered the deck. But
So when you say real people, do you mean like people that were actually on the Titanic?
yeah.
Oh, wow, that is interesting.
Most of the kings and queens and some of the majors have people that were actually on the Titanic. So, for example, the Hermit card was the actual captain of the Titanic. He's the one on that card because it was his last voyage. Let's see if it doesn't. It was his last voyage before he retired, and so they talk about him contemplating his career and what's next, and yeah, so that was pretty interesting. And
check that one out. Now, is that an indie one?
Huh?
Is that an indie deck?
It was a Kickstarter.
Okay.
So I'm assuming, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out. I hope there's still some available.
Yeah, so it's a really interesting deck. I didn't know the pip cards did that until I read the guidebook, and so that was a nice surprise.
Very cool. I've always been fascinated by the Titanic also, the stories.
Yeah. My son went through this phase where I've always been fascinated by it, but he knows every fact he knows. And so I was like, I have to order this deck. I can't not order it,
Right.
which happens to me rarely. So I just went with it.
Absolutely. So do you have a current favorite tarot card?
My favorite tarot card of all time is, I was going to pull it out, but it's in a deck that is by someone that I'm no longer, whose decks I'm no longer supporting right now. And so I put those decks away, which is unfortunate because the two decks that I have, I really, really loved. And one of the cards was called the Seer, and that's my most favorite tarot card that I've ever come across. It was a Ulid Nile dancer reading the cards. It was just a really cool card. So that was my favorite tarot card. But apart from that, I don't really have a favorite.
Like in general, though, like out of the major arcana, is there like, would
Well, I guess I really like the Death card.
that be the strength card?
That's one of the cards. Yeah, that's one of the cards that I will look for before I buy any deck, is does it have a cool Death card? But otherwise, I really don't. I really don't have one card that pops out at me that, I mean, I have cards that I have an affinity for just because they have a special meaning for me.
Mm-hmm.
But like the Strength Reversed, but other than that, I don't really have. I mean, of course, some we like to see more than others, right?
Yes.
No more Devil card, which has been popping up incessantly the last few weeks.
Yeah. All right, let's see. So what decks are you currently working with right now then?
Mostly the Light Seers, always the Robinwood. My Radiant Wise Spirit is a go-to. I also have, this is one of my favorite decks. It's like a Victorian opposite. It's like a Victorian kind of goth. There's the devil again. Dang it. So yeah, my universal weight. Same old thing. The Santa Muerte tarot I've been working with a lot. So that I got that one at Christmas.
You know, I wonder if the devil keeps coming up for you because of Saturn being in retrograde, and Saturn rules Capricorn, and that's the card for Capricorn is the devil. And because a lot of these retrogrades that are currently happening are also in Capricorn. So I
just watched a video by Jean Fiorini. If you have watched her channel, she's amazing. Her name is Jean Fiorini, and that's the name of her YouTube channel. But she is like a hardcore scholar, I guess I would say, of tarot. And so she had a video about the devil card, and I thought, I need to watch that. And it was fascinating. And she talked about why the devil might be coming up in the current times that we're in right now, because she talked about the, traditional, I'm trying to look for a Rider-Waite, the traditional symbolism of the tarot of the devil, where the man's tail is on fire in the devil card, and it's kind of lighting a spark under your I guess the masculine aspect of yourself to kind of take action. So it's like, what are you going to do to get yourself out of this? It was really fascinating. I just love her videos.
Well, that reminds me too, though, because I had just got done. Oh, wow.
So
It didn't dawn on me about the tail being on fire because where did I read it? That it's another name for the dragon's tail. Was it the south node or the north node? Something like that in astrology, I believe.
yeah, she said there's always in every devil card some sort of little spark of light. Kind of like on the death card, there's always a flower or butterfly or something hinting at a new life. And the devil card, there's always that spark to kind of, what are you going to do about this?
Right.
It was really interesting. I took a couple pages of notes. I love her videos.
Very cool. So, would you consider yourself a collector? And if so, how many decks do you have?
I am not a collector. And I am not a collector because I think I was more of a collector years ago when I first started. If I saw it, I bought it. But I have so many decks that just sit there, and it does not make me feel good for decks to sit unused. So I would say I have 30-ish decks. And some.
Is that with your Oracle as well? Or is that just tarot?
No. Well, I don't have any Oracle except the ones I'm getting rid of.
Okay.
Except for I do have Julie's Cup of Contemplation cards, which I love. Juliet Peekaboo Rose. And I do have this Oracle deck. So yes, including this deck, it's about 30-ish, I would say, give or take, decks.
That's not
because
bad.
it doesn't make me feel good to have, I'm always excited when I see a new deck. I always get stars in my eyes and think it looks really cool. And then sometimes I buy it and I look through it and yeah, it's cool. And it just never calls to me again. Whereas some decks I've had on my list for a couple of years and it keep getting called back to it. And so that will give me, that's a better indicator that I might actually use the deck. So that's my rule is if I'm not going to use it, I can't buy it, no matter how good it looks. This little bookstore near my gym is between the gym and the grocery store, which is a very bad place to put it because every time I go to the grocery store and get dinner after I go to the gym after work, and I always stop in this bookstore and they have a little end cap that is nothing but tarot books and decks. So yeah, I stop in and think, is there anything here that I need that I don't have? And usually I either have the deck or I'm not interested in the deck, but
Sounds like you've been resisting the devil.
Yes. I'm resisting. He's tempting me, but I'm resisting.
Right. So Darlene wants to know, whose video was it? What was the name of the lady you watched?
Her name is Jean Fiorini, Jeanne Fiorini, Jean Fiorini, and I love her. It's fabulous.
And Marion said, check out Pam Gregory. She has done decades of work on the North and South nodes. Awesome. Thank you, sweetie. I will.
Pam
New
Gregory.
decks look appealing for about 15 minutes. Yep.
Yes, Jason, I keep it on a wish list. I have a physical list because I'm a, old-fashioned paper and pen gal. I don't have any lists on anything virtual. So if I keep coming back to it over and over again, then I know it might be meant to be and I can put it on my Christmas list or something.
Right.
What is her name? Pam
Gregory. The shininess of a new deck wears off. I typically keep a deck on my wish list, and if I keep coming back to it, I'll eventually get it. More often, it leaves my wish list.
Yeah.
I actually do that. I mean, you wouldn't think that as many that I have accumulated, but there are just tons of tarot decks out there.
Yes.
Just tons.
Yes.
Oh.
And if I could have one of every one, I would, but I don't think it would make me feel good. But there are some times when I add it to my list and I look at my list much later and think, what's that? I don't even know what it is anymore. Or I look at it again and go, what was my train of thought there? So I can weed out a lot just by doing that. And yes, Laura says, I'm not allowed to just stop in bookstores.
Gotta stay outside. Yep, exactly. That's always trouble. So since you started, you said like in the 90s, early 90s?
Yeah, well, probably mid to late 90s, I would say.
So would you say that your reading style has changed since you started?
Not tremendously,
Oh.
actually. A little bit. I've of course, added things here and there, but it really hasn't changed too much. I'm not usually a spread person. I use spreads more reading for myself, but if I'm reading for other people, I generally don't use spreads and I never have. So my approach to tarot and how I think tarot, what I think it's good for, really hasn't changed much. I think it's really for self-reflection, and it's having a conversation with your higher self, and it's things you already really know deep down that it can validate for you. And that's just how I've always approached it, and I think it still holds true.
It's a great tool for therapy.
Oh, yes.
Therapy. Definitely. All right, so let's see here. Do you have any daily rituals that you do?
Well, I do a daily draw, and I always light a candle in some form or fashion during the day. I've been doing more and more dream work. So I'm trying to get into the habit of recording my dreams. And sometimes I don't want to take the time. So I'm actually doing voice, speech to text and then I email it to myself so that I can just print it and glue it into my journal because I'm that lazy. I usually like to handwrite things, but if I don't do that in the morning, you know how they just kind of slip away.
Yeah.
You remember it clearly, and then an hour later, you can't remember it at all. So I'm trying to do a lot of that. I guess I would call it pray or talk to my guides every day. Yeah, nothing set in stone, but I do a daily draw and reflect on that in my tarot journal. And
all right,
I'm trying to work on being receptive and open and ready to listen to whatever my guides have to tell me. Sometimes I'm like la la la, but I'm trying to keep the channels open.
Do you ever get like ringing in your ears?
Constantly. All the time.
Yeah, I definitely feel like that's when they're down one. Do you ever, like, this happened to me this morning. I started to watch something. I think it had to do with the news or something about Trump. And then all of a sudden my ears started ringing like really loud. I'm like, okay, I think they're telling me don't watch that, Rachele. So I clicked off. I'm like, okay, point taken.
Yeah, I do. I know that's funny because I've gotten ringing in the ears. Sometimes and I know there's nothing wrong with my ears, but sometimes it can be pretty loud, or just one ear will start ringing really loud.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I do have that a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's definitely them talking to us. But I think it's recognizing that, and then go, well, what are they trying to tell me? Pay attention to when it happens, Like, are you getting that at the same time you look over at the clock? Oh, see, right now I just looked at the clock and it's 4:44. stuff like that.
I get a lot of 1111s and 333s and things like that.
Yep.
Yep.
So that was the next. See, this is funny. Every time we start talking about something, we go into the next question, which was about dream work.
Yeah, I'm working on that. I had actually I had like a guide, my guides switched. So I had one kind of leave and a new one come. And this new one wants me to pay attention to my dreams. So I'm trying to write things down. And
Okay, let's talk a second here. How did you know that you had a different guide come in?
Okay. I don't know how to explain it, but I've had a guide that I have worked with for years, like years and years. And I just thought this guide would be one that stuck around forever. I just kind of assumed. But she just started, when I meditate or journey, she just kind of like hang in the background. And it was just like I didn't hear from her as much. And then a couple of things happened actually with tarot, and I just got this inkling like, oh, something new is coming, which always kind of makes me nervous. Because I think, what am I going to have to face? Like, what kinds of things am I going to be working on with this guide? But I guess when that happens and I get an inkling, it's just kind of a hunch that I have. And then I'll have someone else show up when I'm meditating or when I do journey work. And sometimes I'll even just ask, like, okay, who are you? And they'll step forward. It sounds kind of weird to say it out loud, but it's more of a gradual, I just get a feeling. And then gradually someone is stepping back. They're still there, but they're kind of in the background. And then someone else comes forward.
Well, the reason I ask is because do you think, have you ever thought about who are our guides? Are they people that we maybe had past lives with, or, people that were previous family members that you had decided that they were going to be your guide? Did they come in at certain times in our life for certain lessons? Or did somebody just incarnate into a life and that's why a new guide is coming in? And or did somebody just pass and they come in? These are
all
things
of
that
those.
it makes me think of.
All of those. So angels can be guides, past loved ones can be guides, even past, relatives that you don't even know. I have a guide that I really think was past life me, like just a version of me in some other time. And certain deities might be guides and they might come and go. So some might stay for a long, long time and some might just be there very quickly. But I think there are always guides that we have that are working for us.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're careful to, say that you're open to your highest guides, because there are lots of things out there that I think aren't the highest energy.
Oh, right.
So, that maybe aren't, maybe aren't any more together out there than they were if they were incarnated into a real life. So I'm careful to just allow my highest guides to come through. And so I have some that have just been in the background for years. And I've learned, because I had a guide freak me out one time and I thought this guide was extremely scary. And I had actually a tarot reader tell me, you can tell your guides to back off.
Wow.
And so I said, you're freaking me out. Okay. I need you to work with me in a more gentle way. And he dropped way back and has been just hanging out in the background. It was almost like, okay, well, you're obviously not ready. So I'll hang out back here until you're ready.
That's amazing. And you say it's weird to say it out loud, but you are in the right company of people
Right.
to be talking about these things. Just say it.
This is the only place where I can say it out loud, and maybe people wouldn't be like, she's crazy. But
oh no, I mean, some of the comments in here are ear ringing is clairaudience. You can work with sound in order to tune your ears into the frequency to hear the message. I need to do that. I have clairaudience.
How do you tune in when your ear is ringing?
Well, she said one good way is to use a singing bowl. And I have been, since I got mine, using it like all the time. I mean, every day I'm using it. I love it. And my left ear rings every once in a while, not daily. It's usually my right ear that rings.
Oh, that was Marion. Hi, Marion. Yeah, I have my left ear ring. Like if it gets really loud, it's my left ear usually, or both at the same time. But the strong one will be my left ear. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
Jen says, I really need to start paying more attention when my ears do weird things.
Yeah.
Jessica says, my great-grandmother is most definitely one of my guides.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my mother-in-law is one of my guides. Yeah. Hi, Susan. Well, that's always a very interesting subject matter, especially because, I mean, just the fact that I looked over at the clock and it was 4:44, that's nothing new. That kind of stuff happens to me all the time. I mean, seriously, it's weird.
Yeah.
Or an ear will ring and then I'll look and yeah, it's like 11:11 or 2:22. That is definitely a sign someone's trying to communicate. So I need to learn how to, learn that frequency, I guess. Because I don't know.
I mean, I gotta work on that. I need a singing bowl now.
Oh, you don't have one?
No.
Mine is fairly new, so do you work with crystals? And if so, what are your favorites?
You know, I have a little box full of different crystals, different gems, but I don't work with them a lot. I'm just not called to them a lot, but I did. I used to work with lapis a lot. I have some citrine because actually that's been popping into my mind quite frequently lately is citrine. So I just have one of those on my altar. I have a large just quartz crystal that I sometimes keep with my tarot cards if I'm taking them out somewhere, like in my tarot bag. But otherwise, I don't work with them very much.
Okay.
Now, I will wear a lot of jewelry. I have a lot of amethyst jewelry, which for some reason I'm called to. But that's
well, maybe
it.
being a tarot reader, because I mean, it's very much about your third eye and imagination and stuff like that, and your dreams.
Yes, that's interesting because eyes are kind of very, have an important symbol for me. So maybe that's why I like amethyst so much. Purple's always been my favorite color. So.
And you're doing that series on chakras.
Yes.
Which I love. How many have you gotten on? Have you done like 3 or 4 now?
I've just done 2. I've done the first 2. So I've done the root chakra and the sacral chakra. And so the next one will be solar plexus.
Right. That could be why citrine's showing up for you then.
Yeah, and that I did pull out my citrine for that video, but this guide has actually mentioned citrine. So yeah.
So Laura says that my ears ring, but my doctor tells me it's because punk shows have wrecked my hearing. Well, there's always that too. And my daughter, she would like listen to her earbuds really loud, and it's like vibration. So if you've got them in your ears or you fall asleep with them, yeah. I'm not sure if it's something more as well. It's probably both. It's probably a combination. How it works for me is my right ear is my guides and my left ear is my intuition. Oh,
Huh. Okay.
very cool. Very interesting.
Wow.
So, let's see here. Do you have a favorite holiday or Sabbath?
I love Halloween. We are definitely Halloween people. We're already starting to think about what we're going to be for Halloween. Got to get a jump on that. But, you know, my poor son, because his dad and I always take him out trick-or-treating. And I think we love it more than he does
I
because
love that.
he'll be ready to stop and we're like, no, we have to go down this street. We haven't hit that house yet. So, but this year it's supposed to be a great Halloween, right? It's supposed to be full moon.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, we gain an hour and it's a Saturday. So
Right on.
hopefully we can all wear masks and go trick-or-treating. But
Oh,
so
yeah. we probably.
I love Halloween. It's my favorite. Hands down.
So, any ideas what you guys are going to be?
Well, earlier in the year we thought maybe like Tiger King or something, but
Oh my
I don't
goodness.
know. It's just whatever my son decides he wants to be, we work around that. So
Oh, that's cute. That's funny. All right, let's see here. Do you have a special skill or hobby that you'd like to tell us about?
oh gosh, I don't know. I knit. I was trying to think of what's interesting about me. I don't know. Usually I would say I read tarot cards, but everyone here does that. So I knit a lot. What else? You know, I belly danced for quite a while.
That's
I
cool.
belly danced my way through grad school. So I did that for, gosh, at least a decade. And I wish I had kept up with it. But when I moved here to Florida, there just weren't as many people doing it, not as many opportunities, and I kind of fell out of it. But I really loved it, and I miss dance so much. So I'd love to get back into that. Let's see. Besides knitting,
Well,
I
what
don't
kind
know.
of stuff do you knit? I mean, are you like knitting sweaters? Are you knitting socks? Are you knitting bags?
I like smaller projects. Otherwise, I lose interest and don't finish them. So I knit a lot of, not a lot. I used to knit a lot more, but I would knit baby things. I love working with cotton yarn, and you cannot beat a knitted cotton dishcloth. So I kind of need a couple, and those are super simple. So I like to knit those. Right now I'm in the middle of knitting a tarot bag for my Light Seers deck. And I've been in the middle of that for quite a while, Rachele, I have to admit. Because it's like a book. I put it away for a while, then it calls to me, and so I'll make a video about the bag when I finish. It has little owls knitted into it, so it's cute.
Oh, that's cool. Susan just said, I heard, pardon the pun, if you tune in by picturing your ears getting bigger like satellites, you tune in better. That is excellent. You got some Dumbo going on, right? Or is it Jumbo? No, it's Dumbo. That's cute. So, do you have a current, or do you have a favorite book or artist?
I love Georgia O'Keeffe. She's probably my favorite artist because those bright colors. I just love that. And also Gustav Klimt. In fact, I have the Klimt Tarot, which is gorgeous. I think I made a video about that for maybe one of the 31 Days of Tarot, where it was, I think, about a deck that you wish you vibed with but didn't. And that was the deck, because it's so beautiful, but it just, I find it very difficult to read with, but it's a gorgeous deck. It's gilded and shiny, and I love that. I love anything with sequins and rhinestones and shiny things. But I am reading right now a book by Eric Larson, and he's one of my favorite authors. He writes a lot of nonfiction about history, and they read like novels. I just love the way he writes. He's the one who wrote Devil in the White City, about the Chicago World's Fair and the H.H. Holmes serial killer that was in Chicago during the World's Fair. He wrote a book called Dead Wake about the sinking of the Lusitania. But right now I'm reading one about Winston Churchill that he wrote.
Oh.
But my favorite book of all time is called She's Come Undone by Wally Lamb. I loved that book. I cried at the end just because I missed the main character so much.
Oh.
You know, you just follow her through many years of her life. And when the book's over, I thought, no, I'm going to miss her so much.
I do get like that when I'm reading a book.
Yeah.
If it's like a really good book,
Yep.
and you know it's a really good book. After you finished it for like a week, you're just like, that's all you can kind of think about is like missing
you
a character.
It. You wonder, it's almost like you wonder what they're up to, even though they're fictitious.
Exactly.
Or what would she be up to now? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was a great book. I loved it.
So do you have a current TV series that you are enjoying?
Michael and I are watching True Detectives, the first season, with Matthew McConaughey and
Woody Harrelson.
Yes. And we're also watching the latest season of Below Deck Med, which we love.
I haven't seen any of those. I know which ones you're talking about, but I haven't seen them.
Yeah, it's about the crew of this, luxury yacht and the trials and tribulations of being on a luxury yacht, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, we just finished Mindhunters, which I thought was fascinating because it's about these two guys who work for the FBI in behavioral sciences, and it's at the dawn of profiling serial killers, and so they're kind of interviewing all of these serial killers, collecting information about their past and what motivated them. So that was a really good series.
I find that stuff all really interesting also. Not the gruesome bit of it, but just trying to get into the mind of the person, why they would do something like that.
It's fascinating.
It is. I just don't get it.
And it was all based on real serial killers. So they used real cases in this TV show.
Was that on Netflix, did you say?
Yeah, I think that's on Netflix, Mindhunters.
Mindhunters. Okay, I'm going to have to see that. Lennon says book hangover. Yeah, that's what I'd like to call it. Is a book hangover.
Where it just sticks with you for a while.
Exactly. Yep. A medium. Are you asking if Amy is a medium? Susan? Oh, and Marion said, fun fact, Mary Kay Greer knits tarot bags too. Oh. And Cindy said that she is working on one for her Universal Celtic Tarot, which is really cool.
Well, Cindy, I hope you make a video because we'll compare tarot bags if I ever finish mine. Hopefully it's not in my to-do. I'll think of 20 more interesting things about myself after we hang up here, Rachele. That's always how it works.
That's all right. Just leave it in the comments below.
Okay.
I say that after I go through quite a few people, I'm going to have to go back 6 months later and say, let's do a follow-up,
Yeah.
Where are they now? What's up with them? So, do you have a favorite witch movie or series?
Well, I love Practical Magic, of course. and The Craft. But I watched quite a while ago The Good Witch. Have you seen that series?
I
think
know
that-
about it, but I haven't really watched it.
Yeah, that was a cute series. I watched the first couple of seasons. But that's about it. I don't think there's anything. What is the series that there are only a couple of seasons of it where it's these sisters?
Charm?
One, no, I never watched.
Oh, The Witches of East End.
Yes. Yeah, I had watched that and I thought that was entertaining, but
Yeah, there was only 2, and then they canceled it, which really sucked because I loved that one. I liked the fact that they were always showing what they did in their past lives.
yeah.
That was really cool. But So, do you prefer coffee or tea?
Coffee, hands down.
Love
Love coffee.
Do you drink it all day or just in the mornings?
Mostly in the morning, but I will drink some decaf in the afternoon just because I think it's yummy.
Yeah,
because I love the taste
really
of
good.
it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you do dark roast?
Dark roast, yep, with just a little creamer,
Yeah.
no sugar.
So is there a time period other than now that you feel drawn to?
I've always been drawn to Victorian, Edwardian kind of time period. Yeah, I love the clothes and the shoes and the hairstyles and the manners and the real hardcore etiquette and I love that. I've always clicked with that. I've always been fascinated by that.
I mean, the cars that they drove,
Yes.
the cobblestone streets and the lights and just, yeah. I mean,
If I could, I would decorate my house like Victorian bordello kind of a look. Just brocade, wallpaper and the fussy furniture. I love Victorian furniture. I just love it. I don't know what about it, but it's just gorgeous.
Yeah. You like stained glass a lot?
Yes.
So
absolutely.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
I did that for a little bit, stained glass.
Really?
Yeah. Nope, years and years ago. Just another one of my several different crafts that I've tried over the years. Everyone that's a crafter, they know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yep. Yep. I mostly get hooked in all of the stuff. This is why I can't scrapbook, because I enjoy shopping for the stuff more than actually making a scrapbook.
Yes.
So,
Yes. That's me.
and you know what? I love organizing the stuff too. So if I can get into something where I have to buy an organizer for it and have little compartments and files, I love that.
Your moon is probably Virgo. You got some Virgo going on in there.
Maybe.
That's
I
what
am
mine
very
is.
practical and
Well, and very organized. I love to be organized. Yeah. That's a sign of Virgo. Yeah.
well, I mean, I watch YouTube videos about organizing stuff and about cleaning the house.
Yeah.
Why is it fun to watch someone clean their house on YouTube? I don't know.
I don't like that so much, but I love watching them totally gut pantries and getting all these new the clear organization, which I have now.
Yep.
Stuff like that, and getting the bins for the closets and going through, and it's just wonderful. I love it.
Yep, and the bins have to match.
Yes.
It drives me nuts.
Yes, me too.
Like
I
all
like
of
the
my
line
hangers,
out.
I have to have the same kind of hanger. Otherwise, it drives me insane.
Yes. I even fold my towels exactly the same way every time.
Yep.
I stack my dishwasher exactly the same way every time. It's got to be done a certain way where the water flow is going to be the most efficient.
My students think I'm crazy because I have pieces of tape on the floor where they have to line up their desks before class is over because I don't like when the desks shift all over the room. So Like, check your tape. You got to line those desks up. Otherwise, I can't sleep at night. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. And does it bother you if somebody leaves the door open?
The door,
Like
no.
behind them? Like if they're
It drives me nuts if they leave like a cabinet open.
yeah. People have mismatched bins. That's ridiculous.
How can you live like that? Mismatched bins.
Yeah, she says, I'm going to start this craft, piles of stuff I've loved buying. Oh my gosh, yes, don't even get me started. You have to have some Virgo in there, LOL, you know? Exactly. Jessica, just to kind of tell you guys, I talk with Jessica all the time from Pagan Pathways, and she's just setting up her craft room because she just got back home, and she has like bin after bin after bin of crafting stuff that she's still trying to unload like a week later. That's just, yeah. Yep.
I will buy an organizer for anything. I'll look on Amazon. Oh, ooh, a wrapping paper organizer. Oh, everyone needs that, you know.
Exactly.
An organizer for my organizers.
Exactly. Yep. We get excited about the label makers, right?
Right.
So, yes. All right. So if you could have a deep conversation with anyone during any time in history, who would it be and why?
You know, I thought about this, and it would really be my grandfather, because there's so many things that he never said about his family. He just never told us. He never talked about his family, and I haven't even really seen many pictures of his family. I knew his brother and his sister, but not his parents or grandparents or anything like that. So I would love to sit down with my grandpa. He was a man of few words.
Yeah.
But he is one of my guides. When he was alive, he would tape a brand new penny to a piece of paper and write, "I love you, love Grandpa." Usually when he would visit and I'd find it, he would leave it behind. And so now I know whenever I see a new penny, that's Grandpa.
Oh, that is so sweet. And I think they were just different then.
Yeah.
They were just more stoic, because my husband, his father, who's passed now, I mean, they just didn't talk. But I learned so much about my husband's family that my husband didn't even know, like other brothers and sisters that he had, you know. I'm just saying, you got to actually talk to people.
Yep, and that's how my grandpa was. They just never talked about it. And I know some really dramatic stuff went down in his family, and he just never talked about it. My dad doesn't know anything about it. So I would really I'd have a long conversation with him. Tell me everything.
Exactly. So do you have a website, or do you do readings for people where they can pay you for it, or?
I do just locally, but I don't have a website right now. And I've kicked that around a lot, but during the summer, I could totally manage it. But during the school year, I just don't know how I would squeeze it in. But I've toyed with that on and off for a really long time. I do give readings sometimes. I've worked at the fair, or my tarot group will do readings for charity, or I'll just have people that I've read for before ask me for readings. And so I do that once in a while, but nothing as a business.
So I do have down below your website. Is it Tarot by Amy, or?
Oh, that's my Facebook. And you know what?
Yeah.
Is that live? Is that active?
Yeah, I actually sent you a message on that yesterday and you didn't respond. So I emailed you instead, because I'm like, well, maybe she's not really.
I should look at that. I should look into that, because I did start it, and I think I tried to change the name and it wouldn't let me change the name or something to Strength Reversed. But yeah, I've gone back and forth. Should I have a Facebook page? Should I offer readings? And I just can't decide.
Maybe refer to the cards on it.
Yeah, I should ask the tarot card.
Right. So, how long have you had your YouTube channel?
It was a year in January. So
Okay.
almost 2 years.
And did you kind of lurk before that, or was that like your first introduction into the community?
I watched a couple of channels, like Jean Fiorini's channel,
Okay.
and a couple of other channels. I would watch videos once in a while, and of course, other topics. I would watch a lot of YouTube videos on there, but I did not know that there was this tarot tube community until I did the 31 Days of Tarot. I had thought for a couple of years maybe I would start a channel because it scared me. So that's why I wanted to do it. I thought I had to shake things up, and this terrified me. But I thought, you know what? Maybe I'll just start this channel. And the 31 Days of Tarot, if anyone wants to start a channel, really is a perfect time to do it, because lots of people do just that challenge, and there are 31 ready-made prompts that you can choose from. And so I did that in I guess it would have been 2019. Yeah. January of 2019.
Those kind of collaborations or challenges are really good because a lot of the other people, especially if you're a brand new channel, because other people are doing it and they are going and supporting other people that are in it.
Yep.
So it's a good way to actually get noticed. But you got to make sure you're getting the hashtag correct, because a lot of them don't get the hashtag correct when they're brand new, so it doesn't no good. But
yeah, but it's you don't have to think of what to talk about.
Exactly.
And you meet a ton of new people that way.
Exactly. So what is the direction that you envision for your channel going forward?
I'm not sure, actually. I was just, I think I'm going to do a VR to Simon. Because Simon at the Hermit's Cave just put out a video because he has 10,000 subscribers, and he was talking about how there are advantages and disadvantages of having a big channel. And I had been thinking before that about whether I want my channel to get really big. And sometimes I feel like it's safer to have this small little channel, and you don't have to, I guess, be as careful about making a mistake or, offending someone when you have this little channel. It feels like less responsibility. And yeah. So I think once you're a big channel, people are almost relying on you to keep creating content. And I don't know. I mean, I really think Simon's right. There are advantages and disadvantages to growing your channel.
Yeah.
And I'm just not someone who's ever been super interested in keeping up with the analytics, or I turned off my subscriber count because that number, there's something psychological that it does, and it would drive me crazy. I would worry about that number and worry and think about it and compare myself to other people, and comparison is the thief of joy. I just want to do my thing, and so I finally turned that number off, just really for my own sanity.
I've thought about it several times. Yeah. I mean, I definitely understand that. And, I've always said I would never want to be famous. No, no way.
Yeah.
I mean, think about that. Yeah. And I mean, they watch every move you make. There's like no privacy after that, and then you get stalkers and stuff like that. It's kind of scary thought. So, but also at the same time, think of all the people that you could come into contact with that you maybe never would have, the connections that you make with other people. So yeah, I can see it both ways.
Yeah, when I started my channel, I never thought of YouTube as this social place where you would like or comment or have a conversation with someone, because I just used it to watch videos
Right.
about stuff I was interested in. I never really interacted with the videos. And so it was surprising when I found this little community of people who all were talking to each other and connected to each other.
Mhm.
But Simon was talking about how sometimes, you get people who are saying things that are less than nice, I guess.
Yeah.
I think the more viewers you have, the more likely you are to encounter,
Just people that like to hide behind
yes,
anonymity turns people in, not all people, but some people
right,
into just rotten beep beep,
right,
yeah.
yep,
So yeah, I'm assuming that also that the more you get, like you said, people rely on you, right? But also people hold you up to a higher standard. We're still just regular people. Somebody that
right,
has 300,000 subscribers is still just a regular person,
yeah.
So yeah. So what do you wish to gain from your channel?
I started it just because I wanted to challenge myself. I had gotten into this rut where I was at a certain level of understanding with the cards, and I was having a hard time challenging myself. And so I thought this would be a good way to challenge myself to. That's why I started my tarot spiral series where I'm going through the deck, because to make each video, I'm really doing a lot more research and reading a lot of books that I don't feel motivated to read otherwise. And
Mhm.
so that's really what I want to get out of my channel, is just challenging myself to go a little bit deeper with my knowledge.
And you know what? It's like a video library, or I mean, like a video diary
Yeah,
almost.
that's
Just
what Michael
watching.
was saying. He said, I think it's so cool that, you can look back, or your son could look back years from now and get a better sense of who you were.
Mhm.
More
One
than
thing I will say, I've got some friends that upload everything and do all their videos on their phone and then upload it. And once they've uploaded, they no longer have it. I'm like, oh my goodness, I have all of my videos
I do too.
on my computer.
Organized in labeled files on my computer.
Yes. I've even got all the thumbnails.
Yep.
Because I've heard horror stories of people saying they come on and all of a sudden all their history is just like deleted, or it's gone. And I know sometimes that's just glitches, but
Right.
and it comes back like the next day, what have you. But God forbid all that work that you've done and then it just
I
disappears.
can't imagine. My brain just doesn't work like that. Like, not have a backup filed away, not keep the original. What?
Exactly.
I don't get
Exactly.
that.
So wonderful. That was all the questions. This is normally the part where I ask other people ask you if you're comfortable with other people asking you a few questions. All
Lay
right.
it on me. Ask me some questions.
All right. So Marion did say earlier, I sit and watch the craft shopping channel just for the fun of it. Yes. Yes. And organization is efficiency. That's why I organize, because I feel like I have so much chaos going on in this mind of mine that when I organize my surroundings, especially
Yep.
like my craft areas where I want to be creative, I can't if everything's cluttered. And I've seen other artists that they've just got stuff everywhere. I can't do that. I can't be creative that way.
I was thinking, this was how I started the end of last year, thinking I really need to go through and declutter not just physically my house, but I need to declutter my mind and some feelings and relationships and things like that. And how my house is, the state of affairs in my house really does affect my state of mind. It really does. If my house is a mess and I just haven't been cleaning, or the dining room table has papers all over it, I have a hard time concentrating. I have a hard time thinking clearly. I get a little bit cranky. It really does affect me.
Absolutely. Yeah, you definitely have to have some sort of Virgo in there. Some Virgo energy you got going on.
Is that what's wrong with me? Okay. It's Virgo.
Virgo, yeah. Susan Montez says 222. Oh, so you must be Pacific Standard Time, Susan. Mary Roberts says, do you have any new tarot apps?
That's my mom.
Oh, hi, Mary.
Because my dad made me, he's kind of like a computer geek, and he's made me a tarot app because I wanted one to track my daily draws. So I think I'm going to do that on I still have to enter all of my cards into the app so we can test it and see if it works and stuff. So I do have the app, and on the way to the beach, because it's going to be a couple hour drive, I think I'm going to enter the cards of the day.
I
and
love
see if all the features work.
I love that. It's funny. I have an app on my computer, or app. It's a program. It's like Oracle something. Now I can't find it when I'm looking for it. But I literally uploaded a whole deck of cards into it and started putting all my meanings into it. Yes, but I also have a file for all of my light seers, because that is my favorite deck. And so when I was doing my 3 card, I could actually print it out nice and neat, put it into my planner. Yes. So I totally relate.
This app is supposed to, at the end of the year or end of the month, it will give you all your stats. So what suit came up the most, what card came up the most, what number came up the most, so that you don't have to do all that by hand.
What is the name of it? Do you know offhand?
We don't know yet. So we're still kind of testing it. That's why I have to enter all this stuff. But I'm going to make a video when it's available.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to that. Yes. That could save so much. I mean, seriously. So Marion says, Amy, what was your most memorable reading? I do remember you said that you always try to forget that kind of stuff.
I do. This is one of those questions that as soon as we hang up, I'm going to go, oh, I should have said that reading. Sometimes they do stick in my mind. One that sticks in my mind for not a good reason. I used to read on one of the sites that does free readings. I did that for a summer, and it was kind of a cool experience because you read for people from all over. But sometimes you attract people who make a bunch of email addresses so that they can just keep getting readings over and over from different people. And sometimes it would be the same person asking the same question. And she asked, there's this guy I'm talking to, and what's with this guy? We used to talk and now we don't talk. And so I did the little mini lovers spread where I go through the deck and find the lovers card. And the card to the left was the King of Swords. And it was like, riding away from the lovers. And then the card on the right, which would have been the other person, was the Six of Swords. So in the I know it was the Robin Hood deck because I remember what the card looked like. This just stuck in my brain because it kind of annoyed me. And I just kept looking at this.
Away.
Huh?
Sounds like someone's trying to get away as quickly as possible.
Well, he was, okay. And so in the Robin Hood, the Six of Swords is these people on a swan sailing away. And I would look at this card. Here it is. I would look at this card and think, I just kept thinking, that ship has sailed. That ship has sailed.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, we used to talk all the time and now we don't talk, and he doesn't call me. But he was away in the military doing some training thing. So and then she was the Knight of Swords, like not even facing the lover's card. And I was like, you know what? You deserve someone who can be present. And why don't he's doing his thing. So why don't you just concentrate on you and maybe see other people, or not be so fixated on him because he's not present. And she said, well, it's, hard not to be fixated on someone you've been married to for 7 years. And I said, wait a minute. You said this guy I've been talking to, I just want to find love, And I said, well, I thought about it. I thought, you know what? The reading still stands. She's just kind of spinning her wheels and he's just kind of over it. That always stuck in my head because it was a lesson learned that sometimes people just aren't ready to receive the message. Doesn't mean that it's wrong.
Yeah.
Even though the situation was not what she represented, the reading was still accurate. And that always stuck with me, mostly because it came with a lesson.
Yeah. Understandable.
And because it annoyed me too. That's why it stuck with me.
Yeah. Considering she had just probably had done that with a different username, right?
Yeah.
Something that Summer and I had talked about from Astari Ascend, when she would do like the pagan like Renaissance or whatever it was, a pagan fair, she would do her crafts and stuff because she does like polymer clay figurines and stuff like that. And she would see all of the tarot booths all down a line, right? And then all the people that would line up, they would start and they would go one, they'd go to the next one, they'd go to the next one and go to the next one. I mean, you can just imagine that some of these people are just not liking what they're hearing. So they go to the next one to see if it's going to be any different. Well,
yeah.
How can it be right if you're just not listening?
Yeah, they just check the accuracy. They want to, see if it's for real, maybe. So they're going to see if the next person says the same thing or not. Yeah,
and pay money for that, one after another.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. I guess. I mean, you have the money. I really firmly believe that when you mess with the cards like that, they start telling you crazy things or just nothing at all.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
But it amazes me, even in a venue like that, how personal the questions will get.
No. I've never worked anything like that before, so because I'm still really new, so with tarot.
Yeah, it's really interesting because people will still come to you with heavy duty questions that really mean a lot to them, even though it's kind of a venue where you don't have that much time, or it might not be super private.
Yeah. Wow.
Interesting.
So if you've done those fairs, do you set up like your booth really, really cool? I mean, what does your booth look like when you've done fairs like that?
Well, the booth was a friend of mine who was part of my tarot meetup. And so it was kind of a group of us. And the guy whose booth was next to us, at one time, I think he knew someone who was in the tarot. It used to be the Tarot Guild, which has been around in my town for a while. And so he would set up the booth because he built it. And then we would just give him a portion of the money.
Very cool. I could always imagine going into one of those. If I was doing it, I would just set up the scene, having like drapery around, coming down, a circle table in the center with the crystal ball over there.
3 little tables, and then so room for 3 readers, and then the clients would sit across from you on hay bales. So you couldn't really have, because it was the,
No privacy.
like a Renaissance fair or something. So
Right.
you couldn't really have candles, but in my tarot bag, I have a little battery candle so that I can have, because I like the ambiance like that. And then there would be a nice tablecloth and, some crystals and stuff. So you can zhuzh it up, make it
I
fancy.
love that. So Marion says, if it helps, I had a client yesterday that was convinced that she was going to get back with her ex-husband who had been married to his second wife for 5 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I don't like relationship questions like that. Like, when's my husband going to leave his, when's my boyfriend going to leave his wife? That's a question that on the free reading site, it was a very common one.
That was one of them when I started offering free ones on my website. That was one of the first ones I got, was a lady asking when was she going to see her ex-husband again. I'm like, oh gosh, okay, well, I'm going to do this, but every single card, pretty much, I don't remember exactly what they were, but they were saying, move on.
Yeah.
You're not going to see him for a while.
Never. I think asking the right question is so important, because whenever I get a question like that, that's not really the question. That's not the question that I want to ask. I want to ask, we can deal with that, but to me, it's like, why is it okay with you to spend your time, to give your time to someone who is not available? That to me is the real question.
Yes. Or why do you want somebody that doesn't want you?
Right.
Why? What is it about you? Yeah. Because that's definitely a you thing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, unless somebody else has any other questions, I think that was actually pretty good. Oh no, I'm so late. Hi, ladies and everyone.
Okay,
you're catching us right at the last minute, honey. Good to see you, though. Yeah. So thank you so much, Amy. This was wonderful. I really enjoyed this.
Thank you, Rachele. I had a lot of fun. Thank you for asking me. I always like watching other people's interviews too. It's always interesting to see what you have in common with people.
It is, really. And they're always good conversations, like sitting across the table from a girlfriend, It's really cool. So, yeah. Yes, thank you. This was such a cool interview. Thank you for doing this. Yeah, my pleasure.
Thanks, Maria.
So I know that you said that you were nervous and excited in the beginning.
I am.
After a couple?
Huh?
After a couple questions? Was it a lot easier?
I was still nervous, but I'm sweating a lot. You know what? When I read tarot, I always sweat. I don't know why. Like maybe the energy or something, but yeah, but it's fun. Everyone likes to talk about themselves.
Right on. And we like hearing. That's how we grow. We listen to people's experiences, right?
Yeah, and everyone, I'm amazed every time I watch one of these how similar other people's experiences are. Even when they're different, really, it's kind of similar.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, everybody. And I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your evenings and or days if you're just starting yours, like Jen. I think she's probably starting hers, or maybe, I don't even know. I think, no, it's probably close to her evening. No, I don't know. I'm not good with that. I think they're like 14 hours ahead of me, something like that.
I can't figure out the time zones, no. I barely know what time it is here, so.
Exactly. All right, everyone have a good one. Amy, thank you so much.
Bye, guys. Thank you.